Warning. The program you're about to watch contains explicit language and descriptions of adult themes and graphic violence that people may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
The village once thrived in peace, a place where everyone knew each other, where the system and economy worked in perfect harmony, until one fateful night. A sudden attack shattered everything. Fire raged, smoke choked the air, and the screams of the innocent filled the streets. Jadak's feet pounded against the wooden floor as he rushed down the stairs. "Iris," he called, desperation lacing his voice. His younger sister appeared, eyes wide with fear. "Jadak!" she cried, running into his arms. He held her close before pulling her along, leading her outside. The village burned around them. Chaos, destruction, death. Jadak's eyes darted frantically, searching for survivors, but what he found instead was an army, a force of invaders sweeping through the village like a merciless tide. A man in dark armor stepped forward, his presence commanding fear. The captain. His voice was cold, emotionless. "Where is Kadaj?" A wounded villager, clutching his bleeding side, shook his head. "Who, Kadaj?" the captain repeated. I don't know that name." The man stuttered. "Please, spare me," he begged. The captain's sword flashed. Blood sprayed. The man screamed his final breath. The villager collapsed, lifeless. Jadak stood frozen, gripping Iris's trembling hand. The captain's gaze locked onto them. "Get them," the captain ordered. The soldiers advanced. Jadak's body stiffened, his breathing quickened, frozen in fear. He tells himself, "Move, move," but his legs wouldn't obey. The soldiers surrounded them. The captain approached, his expression unreadable. "Where is Kadaj?" Silence. Jadak swallowed hard. "No one here goes by that name." The captain stared at him for a moment before sighing. "Very well." He turned to his men. "Kill them." Iris gasped as rough hands tore her away from Jadak. She screamed, "Jadak!" Jadak lunged forward. "Iris, let her go!" A soldier's fist crashed into Jadak's face. He hit the ground, dazed, and then a blade plunged into Iris's stomach. She let out a small, pained gasp as her body crumpled. Jadak's heart stopped. Through the haze of smoke and fire, their eyes met. Her lips trembled. "Jadak," Iris whispered. As her life fades away, her hand reached for him. His own hand stretched out, but before he could grasp her fingers, pain. A blade driven deep into his back. Jadak let out a strangled cry. His vision blurred. His sister's face was the last thing he saw before everything became blank. The army turned away, leaving him for dead. Jadak sobs, with pain and his own helplessness. Faint sobs can be heard in the air as the soldiers take their leave. As the sobs faded out, a menacing, evil laugh fills the sky. A chilling, unnatural laughter. The soldiers stopped. They turn around, but no one is there. The captain turned, his brow furrowed. A shadow moved, fast, unnaturally fast. A soldier screamed as he was sent flying through the air, his body slamming into a burning building. "What the?" Another soldier barely had time to react before he, too, was struck down with terrifying force. Swords were drawn. As the remaining soldiers panicked in fear, the flames of the village cast flickering shadows over the battlefield, but the figure among them moved like a phantom. One by one, the soldiers fell. The captain's breath grew ragged. His hands trembled. "Attack!" he roared. "Attack what?" a soldier whimpered. "We can't even see it," another cried, just before his own sword was taken and driven through his back. The last soldier turned to run. He never made it. The figure moved in a flash and cut him down with his comrade's sword. The captain stumbled backward, his face pale with terror, and then he saw it. Through the smoke and flames, the figure emerged. The captain's breath caught in his throat. Fear in his eyes. "It's you!" A blur. A flash of steel. The captain barely had time to scream before the blade sliced clean through him. His body split in two, and the figure stood alone as the villager burns to ash. The next morning, Jadak woke up, surprised he was still alive. His memory was foggy of last night's event. His body ached, the pain in his side sharp as he reached for his wound. His fingers came away slick with blood, still fresh. He winced but forced himself up. At the pain, he begins to collect his thoughts. His eyes landed on Iris. She lay still, lifeless. A lump formed in his throat as he crawled toward her, cradling her fragile body in his arms. Tears spilled freely down his face. His chest heaved, grief threatening to consume him, but he refused to let go. He carried her through the ruins of the village, searching for a spot to bury her. Finding a quiet patch of earth near the remnants of a burned-out house, he began to dig. His hands, already dirtied with blood, clawed at the soil until the grave was deep enough. Tears fall as he keeps digging deeper. He placed her inside with gentle care, his fingers trembling as he covered her with earth. When the last handful of dirt fell, Jadak sat back on his heels. He wiped his tears roughly away, forcing himself to stand. He had to move forward, pushing through his emotions. As he walked through the ruins, his stomach twisted at the sight of the bodies, villagers and soldiers alike, all lifeless, scattered across the ground, homes reduced to ash. The village was nothing but a graveyard now. His memory slowly came to surface. Confusion gnawed at him. What happened here? The distant sound of hooves snapped him from his thoughts. A group of riders approached, their armor gleaming in the morning light. At the front was a woman, her presence commanding. She surveyed the destruction before settling her gaze on Jadak. "They were here," she murmured. She rode closer, stopping just a few feet from him. "Hey kid, what happened here?" Jadak stood silent. He barely had the strength to process what had happened, let alone explain it. The knight dismounted, her boots crunching against the dirt. "Are you deaf or mute? Did you hear me? What happened here?" she asked again, her tone sharper this time. Jadak shook his head. She exhaled through her nose, clearly losing patience. "Fine. Do you know someone named Kadaj?" At the name, Jadak's heart pounded. His grief momentarily gave way to shock. His fists clenched. The name rang a bell, slowly coming back. "Are you with these soldiers?" he demanded. The knight smirked. "Oh, the village idiot finally speaks." Jadak saw red. Rage took over, drowning out reason. Without any form of combat or skill, he lunged at her. With swift ease, she sidestepped his attack and countered, striking him hard enough to send him stumbling back. He hit the ground but pushed himself up immediately, glaring at her. Her comrades tensed as he prepared to attack again. Before he could reach her, two of them grabbed him, restraining him. He thrashed against their grip, but their hold was ironclad. "You've got a lot of guts attacking the Knights of Vanguard," the woman said, unimpressed. "I don't care what or who you are." Jadak shouted, struggling against his captors. "Give back my sister." She narrowed her eyes, her expression unreadable. "Seems like you've mistaken us for someone else." She raised a hand. "Let him go." Her men hesitated before releasing Jadak. The moment they did, he lunged again. This time she barely moved. With a single fluid motion, she dodged his attack and knocked him back down. Before he could recover, her boot pressed down hard on the back of his head, pinning him to the dirt. "If I were you, I would stay down," she warned. Jadak gritted his teeth. "Well, you're not me." With sheer willpower, he forced her foot off and scrambled to his feet, launching another sloppy attack. She met his strike effortlessly, blocking before countering with a sharp hit to his stomach. Pain exploded through him. He crumpled to his knees, gasping, arms wrapped around his torso. Above him, the knight sighed and drew her sword, raising it high. "Enough, Karda," one of her comrades interrupted. "We've wasted too much time here. Let's go." For a moment, she hesitated, her gaze lingering on Jadak. Then, she exhaled through her nose and sheathed her sword. "It's your lucky day," she muttered before turning away. Karda swung onto her horse and rode away, leaving Jadak behind in pain and despair. His body ached, but the helplessness cut even deeper. After a break moment, gritting his teeth, he forced himself up and began following the knights on foot, determined to see where they were headed. The trail of hoofprints led him beyond the boundaries of his village, through the darkening woods until he reached the banks of a river. There, in the flickering glow of campfires, the knights had set up a temporary camp. Staying low, Jadak crept behind the cover of trees, watching their every move from the shadows. As the night stretched on, the flames in the camp died down, casting long, wavering shadows across the ground. Just as Jadak shifted to get a better view, movement stirred in the darkness beyond the camp. Silent figures emerged, slipping through the trees like wraiths, an army of elites, poised for a deadly ambush. Jadak moved a bit, wanting to help, but stopped in hesitation. Then reality hit him. He knew he does not know how to fight. Exposing his position will definitely spill death. He hid the shadows, watching as the scene unfolded. The attack came swiftly. Karda jolted awake as the first blade struck, her alarmed cry piercing the night. The knights scrambled for their weapons, but they were already surrounded, trapped in a brutal pincer attack. Steel clashed, cries of pain rang out, and one by one, her comrades fell. By the time the last body hit the ground, Karda was the only one left standing. Breathing heavily, blood streaking her armor, she tightened her grip on her sword and spun to face the remaining enemies. She fought with everything she had, but the odds were overwhelming. A heavy blow struck her side, sending her crashing to the ground. Before she could recover, a sharp pain tore through her back as a blade plunged deep into her flesh. She screamed, the sword pinning her down. Through hazy vision, she barely registered the cruel grin of a soldier looming over her. "We're going to have fun tonight," he sneered. Karda gasped, her body in pain, refusing to move. But before the soldier could take another step, the trees began violently shifting as a strong gust of wind blows by. Shadows shifted around them. The enemy's soldiers froze in fear. Confusion spread as they saw a figure moving in a blur. A silent force swept through the camp, swift, merciless. A soldier suddenly gets tugged away into the shadows, screaming as something or someone took a hold of him and threw him away. Then silence. The remaining soldiers look at each other in confusion and horror. Then another gets taken. Screams can be heard in the distance. Then silence again. Now fear has spread among the group. One by one, the enemy fell, cut down before they could even react. Karda barely had time to process it before darkness overtook her, and she fell unconscious. Morning light seeped through the trees. The camp was silent, bodies littering the ground. Jadak stepped cautiously into the clearing, his gaze sweeping over the aftermath. Blood stained the dirt, but something was off. Both sides were dead. Then, a faint groan caught his attention. His eyes landed on Karda. Still alive, she lay on the ground, struggling to move, the deep wound in her back still fresh. Jadak walked to her, picking up a sword from a fallen soldier. "You're not dead?" he asked, leveling the blade at her. Karda slowly turned her head, her expression weak but steady. Jadak raised the sword higher. "I'll put you out of your misery." "Wait." Karda's voice was hoarse, pained. "I spared you. Will you not do the same?" Jadak hesitated. "Who did this?" "The enemy, the elites," she panted. "No," Jadak said, scanning the scene again. "Who killed all of these men?" Karda followed his gaze, only now realizing the full extent of the carnage. Every soldier, both friend and foe, had been slaughtered. Her lips parted slightly. "I don't know," she admitted. "Did you do this?" she asked out of curiosity. "Me? If I can do this, then you wouldn't stand a chance yesterday." Jadak's voice was firm. Karda falls silent as it dawns upon her, remembering Jadak's fighting ability from the night before. A long silence stretched between them. Finally, Jadak loosened his grip and let the sword drop to the ground. "Today is your lucky day," he muttered. Karda's face squinted in annoyance as her own lines repeated to her. Jadak turned away, his footsteps crunching softly against the dirt. As he begins to walk away, Karda called out, "Will you not help me?" Jadak froze mid-step, his shoulders tensing. He turned slightly, but didn't meet her gaze. "I don't know how to fight. I can't help you," he admitted. Karda exhaled sharply, pain evident in her voice. "At least help me with this wound." Jadak hesitated. For a moment, he considered walking away, but something in her voice, perhaps the vulnerability, made him stop. With a sigh, he turned back and stepped toward her, offering a hand to help her to her feet. "Thank you," Karda murmured as she eased herself onto a rock, clutching her wound. "Stay here. I'll go get some medicine," Jadak said before disappearing into the nearby foliage. When he returned, his hands were filled with leaves and herbs. He knelt beside her and chewed a mouthful of the medicine, his jaw working as he prepared the remedy. Then he looked at her. "Take off your clothes," he said simply. Karda stiffened, eyes narrowing. "Wait, are you trying to be a pervert?" she accused. Jadak adds more medicine into his mouth still full, tried to respond, but his words came out as unintelligible mumbles. Instead, he gestured toward himself, mimicking the motion of removing his own shirt in an exaggerated, monkey-like manner. Karda let out a small laugh, shaking her head. "Fine." She hesitated briefly, then pulled off her shirt, leaving her bra on. Jadak, mid-chew, suddenly stopped. His eyes lingered on her before he quickly averted his gaze. Karda smirked. What? You've never seen a woman's body before? A little flustered, Jadak spat the chewed herbs into his palm and carefully applied the mixture to her wound. Spitting, he explained. We use this to heal wounds in the village. He ripped a strip from his sleeve and wrapped it around her wound, securing it tightly before pressing down slightly to ensure the medicine settled. Karda flinched. Ouch! You motherfucker, she snapped at him. Jadak let out a small chuckle and handed her shirt back. She slipped it on and exhaled. There's more to you than just a country boy, she noted. If that's your way of saying thank you, you need to work better at it, Jadak said. Karda smirked. Thank you, she said. Jadak stood and added more wood to the dwindling fire, stirring the embers until flames flickered back to life. I'll get us some food. You keep the fire going, okay? Food will help you regain some strength. Without waiting for a response, he grabbed a fallen spear and made his way to the nearby river. The water shimmered under the dim light, and within minutes, he had speared a few fish. He returned, cleaned them quickly, and cooked them over the open flames. Here, eat, he said, handing her a cooked fish. It'll help you regain your strength. Karda took the food and ate, savoring the warmth and sustenance. As she ate, she glanced at him. How did you learn all of this? Jadak's expression darkened slightly. He stared at the fire. My parents were absent, so I had to feed my sister and me. He hesitated, his grip tightening around his knee. Memories flooded his mind, and for a moment he saw Iris, his little sister, laughing, running through the village. Then, the flames. The screams. Karda noticed his silence. Are you okay? She asked softly. Jadak swallowed hard. No, my sister died during that village fire, he admitted. Karda lowered her gaze. I'm sorry. Jadak finally looked at her. Why are they doing this? They're called the elite army. I don't know why. But clearly, they're searching for something. Burning down villages to eliminate possible hiding spots for who or what they're searching for. Karda said. Jadak frowned. They asked for someone named Kadaj. So did you. Who or what is it? Karda finished her food before responding. Well, legend says he's a demigod who has extraordinary powers. Jadak scoffed. So why are you guys looking for him? For his powers. Exactly. If we can convince him to our side, this war between the elites and the knights will come to an end, Karda explained. Jadak leaned forward. What if he doesn't pick a side? Karda hesitated. That is a possibility, she admitted, but he can be controlled. Jadak's brows furrowed. Controlled? Yes, there's a device that will control him, she explained. Jadak crossed his arms. Where is this device? Karda exhaled. It's been lost for 1,000 years. 1,000 years, Jadak repeated incredulously. It probably doesn't exist anymore. It does. It's been kept a secret and hidden, Karda insisted. We just have to find it before the elites do. Jadak stared at her, the flickering firelight casting shadows across his face. A device capable of controlling a demigod? It sounded impossible, and yet, if the elites were after it, there had to be some truth to it. A quiet tension settled between them as the fire crackled, both of them lost in thought. The air was cool, the fire between them crackling softly as embers floated into the sky. Jadak traced patterns in the dirt with a stick, his thoughts heavy. Sounds like a snake trail, he muttered. Snake trail? Karda raised an eyebrow. Ever seen a snake eat its own tail? Means it's only going in circles, Jadak explained. Ah, I see. It's a legend, after all. But there are traces of Kadaj all over the map. He leaves destruction and death everywhere he goes, Karda said, her voice grim. Jadak clenched his fists, his jaw tightening. So this is why my whole village had to die? My sister? If I ever see this Kadaj, I'll kill him myself. Karda chuckled dryly. Please, he's a demigod. You couldn't even hurt a fly if you tried. Jadak stood abruptly, glaring down at her. Laugh all you want. I will get my revenge. That's the spirit. Karda grinned, wincing slightly from her wounds. How about we find Kadaj so you can smack him one? Jadak hesitated. You want me to journey with you? Yes. All of my comrades are gone. It's you and me now, Karda said, her tone serious. Jadak shifted uncomfortably. I don't know. Karda gave him a pointed look. What happened a minute ago? You were just so full of yourself. Now you can't even go on a search. Jadak exhaled sharply. It's easier said than done. I have no fighting skills or a way to protect myself. I would be dead in a battle. Karda smirked. Yes, you would. I saw the way you fought me earlier. Thanks. Jadak said, voice dripping with sarcasm. Don't worry, you're not totally useless. I could use you as bait. Karda giggled into a laughter. Jadak rolled his eyes but noticed Karda's amusement. Sounds like your wound is getting better. We go our separate ways, Jadak added after a moment, though there was little conviction in his words. I'm just kidding. Come on, Karda said with a grin. I can train you a bit after I feel better. Jadak considered it for a moment, then nodded. Deal. I help you with your search, and you train me when you get a chance. Deal, Karda agreed. The two rested for the night, their uneasy alliance forged under the stars.